So in this video, I'm reviewing all of Ring's products that I've had experience with over the last few years. These products include all of the following: the Video Doorbell 1, Video Doorbell 2, the Video Door 1 solar panel, the Spotlight cam battery, the Spotlight cam wired, Floodlight cam, solar panel, the alarm system, the Protect plan, First Alert Z-Wave smoke and carbon monoxide alarm, Alexa compatibility, the Ring iPhone app, and Ring's customer service as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to give the Ring Video Doorbell 1 a 3 out of 10. In my experience with the two that I've had, there's been way too many bugs. It's an older camera. There's issues not detecting people, and then there's issues with detecting way too many vehicles no matter what the zone setup looks like. It also detects way too many plant movements, and in order to charge it, you have to pull the whole doorbell off of the mount, take it inside, plug it in, and then charge it. And so, that's kind of a pain. And like I said, I've had two of these, and the biggest issue is not detecting people. I've had to reset the firmware on this one 4 times in about 10 months. And so, that's kind of a pain. If you ask me, it's not doing its job. When the mailman walks up or the UPS man walks up and delivers a package, I've had issues not being able to see it until they're already gone. You can only see the back of them when they're about 20 feet away. So, it doesn't really work very well. It doesn't serve its purpose, if you ask me. But the pros are going to be that it has a pretty wide view angle. The 720p actually isn't really bad quality, and it's fairly easy to set up. And thankfully, since you have to take the doorbell off to charge it, it's pretty easy to take off and put back on. I know that's kind of a harsh review on it, but honestly, there's too many bugs, and if it doesn't detect people, it's kind of worthless. It doesn't serve its purpose. But again, the Ring Video Doorbell 1, I give it a 3 out of 10. So for the Ring Video Doorbell 2, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. The cons are that it detects too many plants and that it doesn't have as wide of a view or wide of an angle as the Video Doorbell 1. However, it's 1080p and it's really good 1080p quality as well. It detects people like it's supposed to, it's an easy setup, and the battery is easily accessible for charging. I've not had any issues setting it up, and overall it's been a really good product. So for the Ring Video Doorbell 1 solar panel, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10. The reason is that for the cons, the trickle charge that it does, it really isn't good if you have more than one motion event every 20 to 30 minutes. And really, because of the trickle charge, if you have an excessive amount of, or what Ring determines as an excessive amount of events, the solar panel really won't keep the battery charged more than like 2 or 3 days longer than the camera lasts on its own. And to me, that's not worth the $50 they charge for it. If I'm looking for a solar panel to keep my doorbell charged, I expect at least 2 to 3 more weeks out of the battery than 2 to 3 days. And quite honestly, I've had multiple doorbell ones, and the first one actually got less battery life with the charger than it does by itself, and then the second one only got about 2 to 3 days longer. So in my experience, it's not that great. Also, it doesn't work with a wedge that Ring has for their doorbells. They suggest you to put wedges on some of them to get a better angle. And the solar panels don't work with their wedges, which to me is kind of a poor design. However, a couple of pros is that it's good styling and that it's easy setup. And, even though it's a trickle charge, if you don't have that many events, it'll keep your battery up for, up to a week longer than what the battery would be by itself. So 5 out of 10. It's not a bad product, but it's not a great product either. So for the Ring Spotlight Cam battery, I'll go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. The cons is that the privacy masking really needs some improvement. It detects a lot of cloud and tree movement way too often. And also, if you have a gathering, the camera will be dead by midnight. So if you have a camera in your backyard and you've got people out on your back patio or something, just pull the batteries out of the camera, because I'm telling you now, it'll be dead by midnight. The audio quality is a bit iffy when you're trying to have a two-way conversation because of the distance between the person and the camera. But the light also isn't bright enough to really see things extremely far away. It lights up pretty well closely, but far away it's not that great. The mount is absolutely horrible. It's just a very, very bad design. When you try to put the camera to the mount, it's kind of like a ball joint, I guess you could call it, but it pops out. If you tighten it too tight, the camera will pop out. If you turn it too much at an angle, the camera will pop off the mount. And so it's just not a good mount, and you really have to take some thought into getting your mount turned just right before actually putting the screws into your house or wherever you're mounting it. But there are some pros. It's got good quality video, no complaints about that. The camera battery actually lasts a good amount of time as long as you're not having a gathering in the same vicinity as the camera. It'll last you, a few weeks. It's pretty good. It's really easy setup as far as getting the camera options where you need it. It also has a great snapshot feature, so it'll take pictures every so often depending on what level you have it set at. And then there's also a lot of great device settings to actually make sure that your security is custom to what your needs are. So I think they have a really good product there as far as the camera. It's really good quality. It's just, I think there's some motion sensing settings that could be improved upon, and the mount isn't that great. They do actually sell additional mounts on Amazon that could be a good replacement, but you have to foot that bill because Ring won't do it. However, it's a good product. I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I would recommend it. So for the Ring Spotlight Cam wired, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's a really good product. However, the cons are that, once again, the privacy masking needs some improvement. It detects the cloud and tree movement a little too often. Audio quality, again, is iffy, just like the other one. And just like the other one, the light isn't as bright for seeing things further than 6 feet away, and the mount is horrible. However, good quality video, no battery needed, which is fantastic. And it has easy setup, a snapshot feature, and lots of great device settings to customize your security to make it fit your needs. And since it is constantly wired, Ring actually added a couple more settings and options for products that are wired rather than battery powered. So you get that as well. So overall, pretty good quality camera, no battery needed, 9 out of 10. For the Ring Floodlight Cam, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. The cons is that the siren really isn't that loud for the size of camera. You'd think that it'd be louder, but it's really not. It does detect a lot of cloud and tree movement as well as the spotlight cams. It's hard to wire into a normal electrical box as well. And the reason is because it has some excess wiring, which makes sense. They give you a little extra wiring so that way, in case you have to snip a little bit, you're not shorting yourself that much wire. But in a normal electrical box, it can be kind of a pain to get everything back in there, so it takes a little patience to fidget with that. However, the pros are extremely bright lights, good quality on audio and video. It has good quality video at night with the 2 spotlights. It's an easy setup in the app, and just like the spotlight cams, lots of great device settings to make sure that your security fits your needs. So overall, great quality camera, 8 out of 10. So the Ring solar panel, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10 out of 10. Its only con is the price, to be honest. I mean, they've got $50 for one and $100 for the other. The pros, that the camera stays charged. I've got 2 cameras that use these, and I use the $50 ones, and they've never been below 99% on battery. So they do a fantastic job even during winter time, and they're extremely durable. Through a hailstorm, they didn't even get a scratch on them. So that was pretty impressive. Plus, they're easy to set up. It's a nice little design, and it's extremely simple to mount. Just 2 screws, and then the solar panel clips onto the mount, and then you alter the direction as needed. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. It works very well, and I give the Ring solar panel a 10 out of 10. So for the Ring alarm system, there's a lot to go over, but the overall rating is an 8 out of 10. What's included in the Ring alarm system is the base station, the keypad, the window and door contact sensors, motion sensors, and a range extender. So the overall cons, it's an easy setup unless you pull the plastic on more than one device at a time. Then it seems like the app gets confused. It can't set up more than one device, apparently, at least not at once. And so that can kind of it can be a bit of a pain if you start pulling plastic on each of the devices too quickly. So be sure to do it one at a time. However, if you do it one at a time, it's an extremely easy setup. The Generation 1 keypad looks and feels cheap. The keypad is also poor quality overall when it comes to normal functionality. I had it for, I think it was 2 months, and Ring already had to send me a new one. And the second one that I've got, I've kind of given up on trying to fix. The keypad's supposed to light up whenever it senses motion. Well, it doesn't. So, that's something that is to be concerned about, that it's a little cheap. It's poor quality. However, on Generation 2, I think they improved upon the firmware as well as the quality of the overall quality of the keypad itself. Some of the pros, though, of the alarm system is that it's a very easy setup if you do it one device at a time. Contact sensors for windows and doors work very well and can be screwed in or taped up with double-sided tape. Just a word of advice, the tape works well, but don't slam the door, or sometimes, when the wind catches the door, it'll slam it. I've had issues with sensors falling off because of that. So, if it's a permanent residence, you're going to be better off screwing the sensors on. Whereas if it's not a permanent residence, or it's permanent for a year, maybe 2, just do the double-sided tape and don't slam the doors. The motion sensors work pretty well. They pick up on things pretty good as far as your degrees each direction. They seem to get a pretty good range on them. The range extender also helps out for devices that are pretty far away from the base station. This range extender really helps them communicate with the base station. The base station is actually really loud. When the alarm goes off, you can adjust the volume, which is great, but it gets pretty loud. So if you have a large house, you're going to hear it everywhere. There's lots of customizing as far as sounds and how sensors work and so on. So there's a lot of cool things in there, a lot of settings to play with. One of my favorite things about the alarm system is customizing the sounds. I have a different sound for different doors. And so that way, I know which doors open. You can also add different sounds to windows. So that way, if a window's open versus when a door's open. And Ring also introduced Halloween sounds for the doorbell for festivity, which I thought was kind of cool. Lots of things to play with there. I do also like how, one of the other cons is that there's no glass breakage sensors. However, one thing I think is kind of cool is that it does work with all of your Amazon Echo devices. So that way, if you set them to guard, they'll listen for any type of smoke detectors going off or glass breakage. And it works with the Ring system. So if an Echo device senses glass breakage, it'll alert the Ring alarm system and it'll go off. And it's actually pretty cool. So, there's a con and a pro there all in one. the system has some stuff it can improve on, like getting some sort of glass breakage. I don't think it's a full-on replacement for an extremely complicated professional setup such as ADT or one of the big alarm companies like that. However, if you're a DIY type of person, you don't need a big alarm system like ADT. I think this one is great, and that's why I give it an 8 out of 10. So for the Ring Protect plan, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9 out of 10. The con is that you have to have one in order to view more than 60 days worth of video on your devices. The pros, it's cheaper than other companies' plans. So if you look at one of the big competitors for alarm systems, you'll see that Ring is cheaper, $10 a month or $100 a year, which is less than $10 a month. There's some good things in there, but if you check out these plans that they offer, you'll see that there's a lot of pros in there. So I'll let you check those out. Overall, from my experience, the Protect plan's been very awesome. I had a smoke detector go off, and Ring called me within 30 seconds and wanted to make sure everything was okay. So their Ring's response time is really awesome. I haven't had any issues. I was away from the house one time. The alarm went off for whatever reason. It was a false alarm, thankfully. However, they did alert the police and had a police officer come by. So, Ring's alarm system is really awesome. I highly recommend it if you have any Ring devices, especially the home, like their alarm system. So I give the Protect plan a 9 out of 10. For the First Alert Z-Wave smoke detector slash carbon monoxide alarm, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I'm going to go ahead and give the pros first on this one. It's an easy setup and it works very well. But the cons, there's multiple false positives and you cannot put it near a dusty area. Even the slightest amount of dust will cause the false positive. I've had 4 false positives from it. And thankfully, they were false and there was no fire, but when it's going off late at night, or if it does have a false positive when you're gone or early in the morning, that can create some problems. And so that's why I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10 because of the false positives. However, it works very well and it's an easy setup with your Ring devices. So for the Alexa compatibility, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9 out of 10. The cons is that the doorbell is slow to respond on the Echo Show 8, and disarming via Alexa is virtually impossible. Doesn't matter what your word is that you use for your alarm system, it's not going to work. I've fought with Alexa to get it to work, and it just doesn't. However, the pros, the Echo Show 8 promptly shows live video on all other cameras besides the Doorbell 1, and setting the alarm is extremely easy. You just say, Alexa, arm home or arm away, and she'll either arm it in the home mode or stay mode or the away mode. So that's pretty cool. As you're walking out of the door, you just tell her to do whatever. She does it immediately. You still get the alert on your phone, so you have verification that it's working. So overall, even though disarming's a pain and the Doorbell 1, which I think it's more of a Doorbell 1 issue than an Echo issue, so I'm just going to go ahead and say 9 out of 10 for the rating on it. So for the Ring iPhone app, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10. The cons, everything. Okay, to be a little bit more serious, the app is extremely slow to connect to an alarm system to arm or disarm. It's slow to connect to any camera for a live view, and there's also lots and lots of errors that pop up when trying to connect to a live motion event. It's the only app that I've ever had issues with like this, and Ring doesn't really have a solution for it. Basically, the only solution has been to reset my network settings on my phone, and that only works for about 3 weeks. So I think it's more of an app error than a phone error, especially since I'm not the only one that's had this issue. But anyways, besides the errors and all that, there are a few pros. It's easy to set up most devices, whether it's a camera, alarm system, smoke detector, so on and so forth. It's pretty easy to set up most devices. When you can get the live view to work, it has pretty good quality image and decent sound. You can arm, disarm, and sound alarm systems right from the app. You can even have the app contact the police or fire station to get help to you immediately if for whatever reason you're in a situation where you can't make a phone call. You can have the app do it for you. So overall, there's more cons than pros, especially if you've ever used the app, you know what I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5 out of 10. I don't know if the Android app has the same issues, but I know the iPhone does, and it's not great. Anyways, 5 out of 10. So for the Ring customer support, I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. The only con is that sometimes it takes more than 15 minutes to reach someone over the phone. And, contacting somebody through Facebook, you're just kind of waiting for somebody to message you back, which sometimes quick, sometimes not. But anyways, that's really the only con. The pros, there's a lot of pros for their customer service team. Most representatives listen to resolve rather than listen to judge. I've had experiences where I'm trying to, talk to somebody and explain my issue, and they think they know it they know the solution without even listening to what I'm talking about. Ring, for the most part, their representatives haven't really done that. They've been really awesome about, oh, this is your issue? Okay, I'm going to hear it all out. Now I'm going to give you a solution, and let's try to fix this. Most of them also know what they're talking about and are extremely knowledgeable about the devices that Ring carries. Very few times have I gotten a hold of somebody who they didn't really know what they were doing. It's only happened a couple times. For the most part, they've been fantastic. Whether I call up there for a question, call up there for troubleshooting, or whatever it may be. There's been times that I've had to get on their website, look at a product, and go, okay, it doesn't list the specific specifications that I need. Let me call them and find out. And they've been fantastic at helping out with that as well. So they're pretty knowledgeable. And in several instances, when you're polite, they really go above and beyond to help you out, even if it means replacing a device for free. I know they won't always do that, especially when you're impolite to them and very disrespectful, but the nicer you are, the better off you are when it comes to Ring. They're going to help you out, especially if you're nice to them. Out of all the times that I've called with either a question or an issue needing troubleshooting advice, only once or twice in the last few years did I ever get anybody that was rude. Everybody's really been extremely polite and helpful. Overall, Ring has had the best customer service of any company that I've had to deal with. I just have to rave on how awesome they've been over the phone. Facebook, it's 6 out of 10 at best. Email, 3 out of 10 at best. A guy that was helping me over email really wasn't helping me. He just said, hey, what's the issue? Okay, what steps have you taken? Okay, what's the firmware? And then just didn't respond for like 3 weeks and goes, is your issue fixed? Well, no, you haven't done anything to fix my issue. So, but that's rare, few and far in between, because over the phone, I easily give them a 9.5 out of 10 once you get past, the 15-minute wait time to speak with a representative. But anyways, overall, I give them a solid 8 out of 10 because they've been amazing over the last few years. So Ring products overall, I give a 7 out of 10. They've got a lot of good products and great customer service, but they kind of almost have too many products for some categories. I know it sounds like a weird thing to say, but I went to their website today and they had 6 doorbell cameras. There's really no need for that. 3, maybe 4 at most would be good, but 6 cameras? Now you've got to try to compare the cameras, see what has what doesn't, and so on and so forth. And it's just kind of a pain. It's like, why not just start dropping some of the older cameras that are 4 years old instead of revamping them? But anyways, they also keep their old products around for too long rather than just phasing them out, like the original doorbell, which is extremely horrible if you ask me. I mean, I gave it a 3 out of 10 rating, and I felt like I was being generous with it. It's still being made. They actually just released an updated version, which makes no sense to me to keep it around when they have 5 other doorbells of much better quality. So, it's just weird things like that they do. Another con is that they're way overpriced on their products. Have you ever checked out their competitors? If so, you'll see that they have very similar products for half the price, and they do just the same thing and have just as good of quality. Some of their competitors even have better battery life and better privacy and motion masking settings. So yeah, my biggest issue with Ring really is the cost of their products, such as their cameras. Doorbells, I don't think they're that overpriced. Their alarm system, I don't think they're all that overpriced, but the cost of their cameras is outrageous. However, I have been highly impressed with their customer service, as you've already heard. I like that they do offer multiple products for the lines, even if they do offer a little bit too many for doorbells. I like that they offer multiple colors for several of their products as well. They even have nice, simple designs for their products and don't go overboard trying to make a fashion statement. They just make a product that gets the job done, and that's what I'm looking for. I also believe that Ring is learning as they go. They're creating new products and updating them with better firmware as they go. I feel like they're actually listening to their customers. They also have a bunch of accessories to go along with the products to suit you better. They also allow for Ring to communicate with other smart devices such as smart locks, smart lighting, smart smoke detectors, and so on and so forth. I really just wish that they would integrate with Apple HomeKit and not just with Echo devices by Amazon, even though Amazon does own Ring now. Overall, are their products worth the cost? Well, I believe that's up to each individual user, but I'll continue to use Ring products because they've worked pretty well for me for the most part, and their customer service is awesome. However, I will still continue to do research on their competitors just to make sure that I am getting the best bang for my buck, because if I find something better and it's cheaper, why not go with it? So always keep your eyes peeled, and again, are their products worth the cost? It's going to be up to you to be determined. I think some of their products are, some of their products arguably may not be, because competitors have just as good of products for less money. But Ring's still a great company with a lot of great products. With all of that being said, I hope that my reviews have helped you. If you have any comments or questions, let's chat. Be sure to like and subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.